Right. Right.
1 of 5 classic Limp Bizkit tracks. I'm either making friends or enemies right now by saying that. Maybe both.
Frenemies. All right. Hey. Welcome to Grawlix Nights, the Grawlix Podcast live show. I'm Randy.
I'm Melanie.
And I'm Jesse. I made you wait for it.
Yeah. He's setting up and setting up expectations and not.
I'm really worried about my video, and you guys can't.
Oh, we do exist. Okay. They seen us for just a moment. That's it.
It's like flashing a little, you know.
Flashing a little skin.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Very little skin because gingers don't like to show off a lot of skin, or else they'll hurt inside.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. We're streaming on YouTube right now and Helix Rock Radio, rockradio.live. That's right. Hey.
Hey.
The best live radio.
Here's what is on the agenda. Doctor Who, we got a couple episodes to catch up on. We didn't stream last week. I don't remember if we streamed the week before, probably. So we're 2 episodes back on Doctor Who, so we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
But first,
yeah.
How are you two doing?
Pretty good.
Doing all right. Thursday, though.
It is Thursday. And I hear those days, they can get bent.
Yep.
I need to check my phone real quick, make sure it's...
They can get forcibly rearranged into an angular situation.
Yep. Yeah. So... what have you guys been up to? Been up to anything interesting? Watching anything interesting? Reading anything interesting? What's happening?
Well, you know all the media that I consume with you. So I think Samurai Jack is new. Other than that, I mean, it's not new, but it's something new that we've just started watching recently. Other than that, I think everything we've already talked about before. Right. That last season, I remember we even talked about there being a new season of Samurai Jack when it came out. 2017. It takes us a while to get around to these things. Not quite 10 years this time. But yeah, that last season of Samurai Jack we never watched. And so we've been watching that. It's great. Samurai Jack's great. Yeah. That guy's cartoons are always great. Depressing, but
yeah. Like Primal, all that. It's always good.
Was it Gennady Tartak? You guys, you knew what you were doing.
I knew what I was doing by avoiding saying his name. Yeah, Gendy, whatever his name is. Yeah, that guy's great.
The Clone Wars guy. The original Clone Wars guy.
I guess. Powerpuff Girls guy. Samurai Jack guy. What else you need?
That guy, too. That's true.
Dexter's Lab, also.
Why not?
Dexter's Lab guy.
Oh, Joe.
Yeah, his stuff's always, man, whatever. He's good. I don't know I hope he's appreciated enough. Mm-hmm. It is interesting because we haven't finished the season yet, but it is. Did you ever see that last season of Ren and Stimpy, where I think it was produced for like Spike Network or something, way after its original run?
Just saw clips of it, and it was just like, yeah, it was like, oh, good idea in concept, terrible idea in execution.
Right, like, because it was
their time has passed.
Well, and it was the whole like kids love this, and now they're adults, so totally uncensored, do whatever you want. And that, in the case of Ren and Stimpy, they went a little far with it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But Samurai Jack is like a similar scenario where it ran on Adult Swim instead of just like Cartoon Network proper for this last season. So it could be more adult. Jack might kill a person or two or three, as opposed to just robots all the time.
Yeah, but at least he acknowledges it.
Right. Like they've handled it like, I mean, there's a couple slightly off color jokes, but they've handled it, or slightly adult jokes, I should say. But it's handled well. It's like, oh, no, this is exactly what a slightly more adult-oriented Samurai Jack show would be. All of his enemies don't necessarily have to be robots. There can be some blood. The themes, I don't know, even certain themes you'd see traditionally in like other samurai media, like they can approach more adult themes. Like Jack's having a hard time, and he's thinking maybe,
he needs to fall on his sword.
Yeah, there's stuff like that where it's like, where it's
dang.
it's not outrageous, but it's like they definitely, you couldn't do this on Cartoon Network.
Yeah,
it's fun anyway.
Mm-hmm. There was the one, something's poking me.
There's a couple slightly dirty jokes, sure, which is still surprising, but it's not like Ren and Stimpy where there's naked chicks and giving birth to poop babies, and like it was ridiculous. The stuff they got up to with that uncensored Ren and Stimpy run. Graphically giving birth to poop babies. I kind of regret that I've even said that with my voice.
It was always gross, but like that's real gross.
Just stopped with Happy Happy Joy Joy. That's all they needed. After that, it was just be classic no matter what.
Right.
Stop with that episode.
Yep.
I mean, I like Ren and Stimpy.
That and maybe some Log, maybe some Powdered Toast Man,
Space Invaders, or whatever that one was. Yeah, that one. Is that the one where he goes inside his belly button? I think it is.
Oh, the belly button one is disgusting. I don't like that one.
But I think that's part of the same episode.
I mean, there's Space Madness. I love that one.
That's what I'm talking about.
Ren and Stimpy, I think, is what made me realize, like, what I find, I know I've mentioned it every time we've talked about Ren and Stimpy randomly on the show. It's the first time I heard the term psychodrama, and it fits it perfectly, and I love it. and I recognize it in other things. It's like when scenarios just go so outlandishly and kind of like so outlandishly out of control and extreme. It's Always Sunny does that type of stuff where everybody's screaming and it's just like so off the rails. I love it. It's very hilarious to me.
Yep.
I think we probably reference psychodrama whenever we talk about like Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. For sure.
Yep. Randy also likes when animals are absurd and talk.
Right. I cartoons growing up had a big influence on, I think, my humor for sure.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I mean, obviously talking animals, but like Tex Avery cartoons, real absurd stuff. Man, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And dogs are the funniest animal on earth. They're just always funny.
Yeah.
Well, this will segue a little bit into something I know, Jesse, something we could talk about because you sent me a thing. I have been watching some D&D content. Critical Role, which is one of, it's very well known. Critical Role. But I've never really watched any of their stuff. Sure. But I started watching they're releasing a abridged version of their third campaign. So basically cutting down their like 4 hour streams to roughly hour-long episodes. And I've been watching that.
And he's showing me the guy that always wears the guy's face on his shirt, and it aggravates people.
Right. There's lots of little Critical Role in jokes that I'm discovering because I was not really aware. Was not really aware of their stuff before. But it's good. I struggle though. I find the problem with watching real play D&D stuff, and I've watched some of their not abridged stuff too since, but it's such a thing of extremes for me because when it's funny, of course, that's entertaining. When they're doing exciting fights, there are lots of good banter. Like it bounces between very entertaining. I'm laughing with them. I'm wrapped to the story, and like mind-numbingly boring. There's just things I just don't care about.
Sure.
When they all start like flesh, and I get it, you got to do it, and it makes it interesting for the players, and this also should be interesting because it ties into the stories, especially how they seem to be like branching the actual stories out of each of their like backstories. But they'll get into long stretches of like just fleshing out their characters and discussing things, and it's always the pacing of that when they're like, well, and then this, and talking about their backstories. Oh man, I struggle with some of that sometimes. It's like this is not abridged enough.
It's really
sure, absolutely.
The problem then is that they have boring character people playing, because they should be making it exciting for everybody.
I don't want to trash them. It's all voice actors. Like they're really good at their stuff. It's some of them. Yeah, the characters do matter. Some of them I can't care about their characters. They're not interesting. Mm-hmm. Some of them are great.
Well, see that this is where that's why I've been like watching Dimension 20 because I know about Critical Role, obviously. Like who doesn't know about Critical Role? They were kind of the breakout of the Let's Play. They kind of put it on the map. But I've really been enjoying Dimension 20 because here's I think where the problem hits. What you get with Critical Role is you get voice actors now having to also be writers, sort of, like they have to create the script. Sure, they can tell a mean story and they can be silly and they can have great voices, but they also have to write it as they're going, and that's what they're maybe not as good at. Conversely, Dimension 20, all like improv actors.
Okay, sure. Yeah,
not necessarily voice actors. Like some of them have gotten into that, but like they're all like studied in improv comedy. Like most of them are doing like sketch comedy and whatnot for College Humor, when that's what it was called. But watching them work is just a riot because they're just always doing the yes and. They're always just like riffing, constant riffing. And so even when it's just nonsense, it's funny,
right?
And fun. And then surprisingly, sometimes he gets spooky, and they do get into some dramatic beats.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's the thing. Like some of the voice actors on Critical Role are really good. You can tell they're very good at improv and being quick-witted and quick on their toes when like presented a scenario. Like some of them will get into their characters and they're pretty quick about it. Some of them are not as strong with that, and they'll then more kind of buckle down into being the character, and that's not always the most interesting thing.
Sure.
But it makes sense what you're talking about with Dimension 20. If they're selling out Madison Square Garden to play D&D, that's insane.
Right.
I don't think Melanie saw it yet.
So before the show, I sent you the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
We're on a little delay, I've noticed tonight.
Yeah.
I noticed that too.
So that's okay. There'll just be a little more awkwardness than usual.
Just a little though.
That's why you come here. You come here for the Grawlix awkward. So they've been doing live shows, but like the first one was like maybe 200 people or whatever. But over like the pandemic, this Dimension 20 got really popular kind of thing. And so now they're like, why not? Let's try it. Let's do a big one, right? And so they started work on their Madison Square Garden show, and they must have already done it, and now they're producing that content now for the channel. And so that'll be releasing on May 14th, so next week. And so I'm interested to see it, but I almost can't watch it because it's about one of the campaigns that I haven't actually watched yet, because there's a lot of them out there. But I am watching like campaigns that all of the main stars of this will be in, and it's just interesting because like the setup that they've created for the middle of Madison Square Garden and the pyro, like there's flames that are going to shoot up out of this, like, I don't know, it's almost like a little pit,
it's like an octagon looking little thing.
Yeah, like a D20 if you lop the top off of it.
Sure.
Like one of those, and then they have like flames go out of the sides and whatnot. If you watch the trailer, there's also a behind the scenes video out on their YouTube channel that you can watch. That's really interesting and kind of like highlights the history of how they built up to this. But like, that's crazy. The acts that go to Madison Square Garden, and then the fact that they sell it out, like for D&D, people coming from all over the world, or at least all over the United States, to watch people play a game in front of them.
No, I know that blew my mind. Like, I didn't know I've never watched any Dimension 20 stuff. Yeah, the fact that it was Madison Square Garden, that's like, for musicians, that's like the peak. Selling out Madison Square Garden is like the peak of whatever, and they're doing it playing D&D in front of this massive crowd. It's ridiculous.
Right. Yeah. Well, and they even get into that. The DM, Brendan Lee Mulligan, he was walking out to see the set for the first time, and he's like kind of overwhelmed and stuff. But then he turns to the camera, and he's like, let's be honest for a minute. This is kind of stupid.
Right. Yeah, I was just before we went live, I was telling Jesse about it. I was like, I'm so torn on this because there's in so many areas, we definitely seem like we're in the worst, stupidest timeline.
Yeah.
But then you got, I don't know if D&D selling out Madison Square Garden, like which way that pushes it. Like, it seems like a good thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is, I guess, kind of stupid when you think about it.
People are going to get paid.
Right.
They're going to get paid to do this, you know?
Well, that's scary though. Then like money's going to start infecting the D&D world, and then there's going to be D&D monopolies, and then D&D Monopoly come together. Oh no. It's the end.
Let's talk about how Hasbro's ruining Dungeons and Dragons.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, it's good. And if you can sustain an audience that big, though, I'll have to check them out. They got to be pretty good if they can draw an audience like that.
Oh yeah.
I just haven't been.
Well, and you don't have to have their Dropout app in order to watch them. You can watch most of their stuff on YouTube. It's just going to have the ads and whatnot.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I haven't been super into D&D stuff for a while because you know how I do. I get in my like hyper fixations for a while and then I'll drop it. Sure. But there is also, and this is something like, I don't think I would have started watching any Critical Role stuff if I hadn't given that abridged series a try for an episode or two, till it hooked me, just because there's, especially with D&D, there's so many, like that's their third campaign. So they've had two big campaigns. I guess the first campaign technically started off camera before they started streaming it. But like, you're talking like hundreds of streams or hundreds of episodes, and each one is like 3-4 hours long. Like that's such a commitment to try to get through the story. Doing the abridged thing is smart, but even that's like, I think they're up to 50 or 60 something of the episodes cut down. And so you're still looking at like 60, 70 hours of content, and that's the abridged version, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that's where people are getting into, was it Vox Machina on Prime?
Right.
Because that's essentially the animated version of their adventures, right?
Right. Which is smart. It's very smart. Yeah, I was curious to check that out. We currently don't have Prime right now, so I haven't, but I was like, ooh, so I'm gonna keep my eye out for that.
Anything else? No?
No.
He says no. I say let's go to Doctor Who.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't think there has been really anything else. No, there is something I want to mention because it's a Jesse relevant. I don't think I'm going to keep watching it, but I did watch 2 seasons of Letterkenny.
Oh, I don't blame you. Yeah.
And I only know of the show because of you. You talked about Shoresy and Letterkenny. And I'm so like, it's a little bit of the D&D thing where like on one end, sometimes it's great. It's hilarious. It's fast-witted. It's funny. It's clever. And then the other 60% of the time, I hate the characters. It's terrible. Like if it's not the main like trio or 4 of them, once it goes to any of the side characters, the hockey players or the goth tweaker guys, I lose it. I can't stand them. They're terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I love the hockey players, but they get a little more nuance as time goes on. And you can see where they're like slowly like, oh, we could make a show. We could make Shoresy a show, you know, and so that's what Shoresy is you've probably even seen Shoresy if you've watched 2 seasons, but nobody sees Shoresy because it's Wayne. You know, it's they can't show him because it's the same guy.
Okay.
He's just talking in a higher pitch voice.
Right. Like I said, I like it. And then I'm like, then I'll watch a bunch and I'll be like, I don't want to watch this anymore. I'll probably resume it again later randomly. But
it feels very much like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where it's like I could watch a couple of them in a row and then I would have to kind of take a break. But then I would come back.
Sure. Yeah, I think the way I was kind of thinking about it in my head is like I'm hooked on It's Always Sunny. I'm still just rewatching episodes of that randomly.
Sure.
If not every day, every couple days. But
well, I think it's because all of those characters are simultaneously likable and unlikable in about equal measure.
Right.
They're all compelling.
There aren't as many characters that just really put me off, which I think is Letterkenny's thing. Is there's enough characters that really put me off that the show jumps to pretty often. In It's Always Sunny, it'd be like if the McPoyles had a regular segment in every episode. If they were like almost equal billing as the main cast, I couldn't do it because I hate those characters.
Right.
But they're in it so infrequently that it's like, even when they're in it, it's like, okay, there's some funny stuff. They're not going to be there that long. It's fine. I can deal with them.
Sure.
But Letterkenny, it's like everybody who's not the main core little group are McPoyles as far as I'm concerned, and they drive me crazy.
Sure. Right.
But anyway. There's some good stuff, though. I will agree there's some good stuff in it.
So you're talking to your pals on a podcast one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Doctor Who.
Yeah.
I was trying to, I don't know how to bridge from your thing.
From the Doctor Who movie filmed in Vancouver or Toronto to
there you go.
The actual Doctor Who filmed in Cardiff. Here we go.
Okay. So we've got 2 episodes to talk about. We've got, by the way, I really hate that they rebooted the season numbering, because if you Google Doctor Who season 2 episode 3, you're not going to get the right thing. It's going to pull up a David Tennant episode. Like, it's just a mess. And if you want to think about that way, they don't, because I think everything before is series, but now it's season 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
Google doesn't really differentiate. So this is the 3rd season 2, technically, and it's ridiculous. Anyway, The Well. Melanie, do you need a refresher
What?
on what Doctor Who season 2 episode 3 was? The Well.
Maybe.
Well.
Tell me about it.
It's where the Doctor and Belinda show up on a spaceship, or no, they're on a planet. They end up on some planet 500,000 years in the future, or something like that. And it happens to be spoilers for an episode that's been out for 2 weeks. Midnight, the planet of midnight.
Oh, okay. Right.
Overall, what did you guys think about this return to midnight?
I didn't. I thought that the first Midnight was a super creepy bad guy, and I liked it a lot. This thing was just not. It was none of those things. So I don't like it.
Was it supposed to be the same creature?
I don't know.
It's inferred that it is. Yeah, that's it. It's inferred that it is, and I hate that it's inferred that it is. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't operate the same. I like the creature. I like the setup. It was a little wacky, like the mechanics of like
Right.
it having to be behind and whatever. When things like when soldiers start getting tossed, it's a little wacky in how the mechanics of that worked, but there's some really good creepy stuff in this episode.
Holly was like, just have her back up against a wall.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Easy fix. There were like them like catching a glimpse of something occasionally behind. There was some cool creepy stuff, and I would even be okay if it's like, oh, it's midnight, a planet that's been known to have weird invisible creatures. This must be another weird invisible creature of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
But then the Doctor gets all teary-eyed, and the way the Doctor talks is like, well, it's not, like he's greeting the same exact specific creature from 400,000 years prior.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
Yeah. I think this episode tried to do way too many things too. I'm like, it didn't need to be midnight. They could have put this anywhere, taken the midnight thing off of it, and just did it straight as what it was. But instead they were trying to show that the human race has somehow like gone extinct at some point. So they're trying to deepen the mystery of whatever's going on with Belinda. And then they threw that whole, like they tried to make this new threat like creepy, and then they tried to like give it more gravitas by making it a David Tennant throwback, which is his go-to, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree. It was really unnecessary. Like shoehorning it in. It's like those sequels to a movie where it's like, the script did not start off as a sequel to this movie. It got shoehorned into being a sequel to this movie. Mm-hmm. There's at least one Hellraiser movie that's one of those where it was this whole other thing. And then they're like, but let's make it a Hellraiser sequel. And they're like, oh, okay. That's what this feels like, where the original idea is not bad. Like, why not just have it be a new creepy monster? Because it does not behave in the same manner that the old monster did. Mm-hmm. It doesn't need to connect back to it. We don't need member berries every episode.
It's like Super Mario Brothers 2.
Right. Yes. Yeah. You're right. This is
like, that was supposed to be a different game.
This is Doki Doki Doctor Panic.
That's right.
Right. I'm happy with the nerdiness of that statement. I liked it. But Yeah, for the most part, on its own, it was fine. There was some stupidity, and some of the mechanics were a little weird, but overall, there was some legitimately good creepy stuff going on. Some stuff that kind of had you guessing. They did. I thought, yeah, they did they even did the horror movie stinger at the end where it's like it got off the planet. But I kind of like that because when they got into the little thing where it said how many occupants, 3 of them got on and it said there were 4, so I was like, yeah, they're doing something there. I don't know how I feel about Belinda getting shot just right perfect so that they can revive her, but so that it kind of technically kills her for a moment so it'll transfer. That seemed convoluted.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's like,
I feel like
one of those, the Final Destination movies where they're trying to trick death, It's not going to work. Come on.
What were you going to say, Jesse?
Yeah, just they were trying. It's like they were trying to call back to midnight, and they were trying to have the psychological horror of it, and they were trying to create that paranoia. Like just throw them off of the van or the bus or the whatever it is, throw them off the train kind of thing. And we're not going to listen to this doctor guy, and so they had that whole thing, and they tried to build it up with the video, capture
Flashback
that they had.
Oh
yeah, but it just didn't quite hit the same way. It was like, no, I don't get that same tension. Not that there wasn't any tension. It was kind of interesting. It was like, oh, something's going on, but I won't totally admit to it because that would be crazy.
Right.
And I love the bit though. The part of it I really liked was when that one guy went all crazy and just started running around the chick, looking at everybody, just flinging them left and right.
Right. It was like, what are you doing, man? You just murdered so many people.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good, my feelings about this kind of sum up my feelings about every episode this season, where it's there's some good stuff in there, but there's just some kind of I don't feel great about it at the end. I'm not totally thrilled.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is kind of the perfect segue into the next episode, unless we have a lot to say about this one.
Nope.
Because I really don't. I mean,
no.
It was okay. It wasn't his best. I don't think he should have went back to the well. I think he should have left that thing a masterpiece the way it was. And maybe that's me being an old man and being like, don't change anything. But I don't think he needed to.
Well, to make those connections, there's too many, and this is the problem with RTD2. There's too many leaps in logic where it's that's just not necessary, dude. You could drastically uncomplicate this just by not doing that. It doesn't make sense to do that, and that's a lot of my beef with the worst aspects of this current new series, this new run.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's this other one called?
Not the Doctor.
Not the Doctor.
Well, he's in it.
Lucky Day.
Lucky Day.
Yeah, it's kind of a 73 yards follow-up, kind of, but not exactly.
Not at all.
Yeah, it did give me the vibe though, because it was all centered around her.
Yeah.
Right. But they didn't try to shoehorn in. It wasn't like an actual sequel they were trying to shoehorn. It just was here's a similar thing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think of this?
I think Millie Gibson can act her pants off. She's great.
Yeah, I didn't hate it, and it's one of those where on paper I like it more than I think I like the actual execution. And honestly, it's just because it frustrated me. Because it's I appreciate what they're doing. It's so direct, but still somehow not as ham-fisted as a Chibnall message episode.
That's what I was going to say. That's the one thing that keeps it from being the worst thing possible.
Right.
We've actually seen worse.
It would be better if they didn't have the Doctor come in at the end. If they would have just left him out of the episode, I think it would have been way better.
Right.
Like, it was completely unnecessary for him to be there, especially considering where they're at right now in their whole run. And I mean, he does address that. He asked him if he's seen Belinda yet, or met Belinda yet, but still, I don't like it. And I especially don't like that chick, Mrs. Flood, at the end.
I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of seeing every episode. It's just like one season, okay. But now you're like halfway into the next season and you're still just like random cameo, no explanation. It's like, I don't care about this old lady. I'm tired of her. She's everywhere. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
She better come into play soon, or else, I don't know. Or else nothing, but still. I wasn't hating the like it's another Ruby episode, which is a little weird to do.
Right.
But I do like the idea of like it would almost be better if we didn't know she was going to be in this season, but we all knew she was going to be in this season. The idea of randomly jumping to a past companion and be like, well, this is their post-Doctor life, which they've right. touched on that, but never like a companion that's actively like out of the TARDIS now, you know, for the most part. It doesn't make sense that she would quit Unit at the end or whatever, take a break from Unit.
Yeah.
But
maybe it's because what do they call that? Doxing somebody or something?
Doxing? Oh, yeah, because everybody got doxed.
Yeah.
All Unit people got doxed.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that. Maybe that's part of her arc. It was like, no, it's time for a normal life for a while. I guess I could see that.
Yeah.
I don't need to be adrenaline junkie chasing after supernatural stuff all the time.
Right.
They made it really hard for her to go back to the Doctor, though. Like, was that part of the plan, or is this going to be her only episode of the whole season?
That I don't know. Yeah, that I don't know.
Because I remember they made it a big deal that she was like, oh, breaking news, she is coming back.
Right.
So is this what we get?
It'd be kind of weird. It'd be kind of weird because there's no interaction between her and the Doctor. That makes it
right
particularly weird.
Also, we're trying to get to know this Belinda, so to throw her in the middle of the season is like, wow, it's a little abrupt and a little disjointed.
As for things, I also didn't like that when the twist happened. It's like, oh, it's just his like whatever his 4chan buddies in costumes or whatever. Like, those are pretty good costumes for whatever.
Yeah, no kidding.
And thinking back on it, how would Unit 1 not know who this guy is? Like,
right.
He had a podcast, and I get he was probably just doing. He kept that low key to like, I don't know, try to attract Unit or Ruby or whatever. But like, there's no way, and not just because of his involvement with Ruby, but like Ruby obviously reached out and connected with him because the Unit knew that he had been infected, whatever.
Yeah.
There's no way they didn't do the research and figure out like, oh wait, no, this guy's kind of a troll.
Yeah.
He's also clearly like double dipping, you know, like he's double fisting this content creation because he had all of these people on his live stream that were totally down for taking down Unit, but Unit didn't know who he was.
Yeah, that's exactly like how you don't come out of nowhere. And if he did legitimately come out of nowhere and just start live streaming this, he's not going to have an audience right away. Nobody knows who this guy is. He would have had to be established at some point, which makes it even on paper, it just doesn't work. That aspect doesn't work. The twist, the reveal that he's like, whatever.
Okay. Well, my thing is, and I know that they don't in the UK, they don't carry guns the way that Americans do, but Unit does have guns. If some big crazy dog monster jumps out, they're going to shoot at it. They're not going to wait and listen to reason. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Those guys should be dead right now. And it should be that guy's fault. But they didn't play it that way for some reason.
Yeah, Unit's basically military. I mean, I feel like a modern version of Unit, it seems less military, more like, I don't know, CIA or something. But traditionally, Unit is a straight up military outfit with soldiers and guns.
That was a point that was tough, and I struggled with it. Holly straight up wasn't having it. Kate, and the way that she handled things in the end there, like letting the thing basically get him, you know. It's like, has she gone that far before?
Well, she was gonna let some bad things happen, I know, in previous seasons.
I know she's been kind of going down this path, but I don't know if we've ever seen it before where she just straight up let a monster get a dude.
I get the sense that she would not be beyond it, that she probably does reel herself in. Because it seems a little out of character, but I do appreciate the like her little like turn of like, the doctor's not here, and I'm glad because he'd stop me from doing this or whatever. He wouldn't let me do what I'm about to do.
Right.
It's a good line, but I think she is probably capable of more shady stuff. She probably reins it in a little bit when the doctor's around. But I feel like what she did here I think it's irresponsible and way dangerous. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah. It's crossing a line. It's like he was making the point to rile her up, and it totally worked, which is like, oh, really? You're the head of Unit and you can be riled up just by mentioning your dad, kind of thing. But like with I'm trying to think, because the Brig did some shady stuff too once in a while, but did he ever take it to that extreme? He was pretty military man. He was pretty like by the book.
Well, see, and that's the thing. I feel like, and maybe that's where I'm getting my impression of her is like, Unit was much more military. I assumed like Unit would not be above doing some military style stuff of dispatching an enemy, just outright dispatching an enemy if needed.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So
Nullifying
I assume
the threat.
Right. And I assume Kate would be the same when the doctor's not around. But again, yeah, he did get to her and break her composure, and I feel like that's maybe a little out of character because she's always so like collected when crazy stuff's happening. She even seen cyber break, she held it together,
right?
So I don't know. I'm so curious. I think the guy that pinned this episode is also working a lot on that spinoff, that Unit Land and Sea or whatever spinoff series they're doing.
Oh, with the Silurians?
Yeah.
Or the Sea...
Maybe the Sea Devils, whatever it is. Yeah. So I'm that kind of makes me more curious and a little cautious as to what that series will be. But yeah.
So
the dude is an idiot, though. They should have left him. They should have not given him his arm back.
Right.
It was out of character. It's out of character to let the creature actually get his arm, even though they put it back on somehow. But I feel like it's falling into... That's what RTD maybe wants to see, and that's what he thinks the audience wants to see, and it doesn't matter if it's really in character to let it happen.
Yeah.
But...
Well, I don't... Even if she would let it happen to the guy, I don't think she would let it happen to the guy on live feed.
Right.
More so, because...
Right.
They don't want people to... I mean, I know that his whole thing is to try and prove that it's all fake, but they don't want people to know that it's all real either. You know what I mean?
Also, how they got like a master command robot guy, and some rando can still just like work his way up to the top of their control room and sidetrack security. Because
that's just some little gay robot. They need Skynet.
Right. They do need Skynet.
he knew a guy. Look, he had an inside man, so he just walked right in.
And he's like, man, that he shot, which was silly. I mean,
Right.
I don't know.
This character was just like kind of unbelievable, anyways. Like he was just like the cartoon of a bad guy, the cartoon of a Ben Shapiro internet troll kind of guy. That can also apparently woo and totally blindside Ruby. I don't know. Yeah,
his whole character was weird, and his motivation didn't make sense with his childhood. I guess they tried to make it, but it didn't to me. None of it made sense.
Yeah, that feels like a jab at those guys of like, well, they obviously
didn't get enough attention when they were little.
Didn't get enough attention.
They had mommy issues. Yeah.
He wasn't. I think part of it is like I can see people being that way. It's if the world of Doctor Who was real, there would absolutely be this guy, because that guy exists. But that's also part of what it's so irritating to me about it. It's just like I see that guy every day online. I don't need to see him now.
Get off my planet.
Right.
The Doctor.
I was thinking about it the other day, though. I was like, I think they need to set up angry white guy supervillain team and pair him up with that white supremacist type guy that they sent back in the Rosa Parks episode. Those guys need to team up.
Yeah. That's what I kept thinking about. It was like, is this guy? This isn't the same guy, but it's this very similar guy.
Yeah, I don't think it's the same guy.
No.
That would almost make it a little better.
No, I don't think it is.
But I don't think it was.
No.
I think that
they couldn't get away with the like twist and reveal that he was actually a bad dude and not just like love interest guy.
Yeah, because that was supposed to be a surprise.
Right.
The next bad guy should be a feminist, and she should yell at Doctor Who because this is our world and our choice and not his, and he needs to stay out of it.
You know, like toxic feminist.
Yeah, toxic feminist.
Right. You could go over they could go after the toxic positivity people.
Yeah.
Sure. Just so there's some balance, right?
Yeah, and it'd be fun.
Melanie, you can.
So the guy really did not ever take the pheromone antidote,
Nope.
and that's why the thing hit his arm.
Yep.
Well, I would have been him anyway if I was that
dumb.
I was thinking, because it was so obvious that he didn't take it initially before the reveal, and I was like, so what? Right. And it was very frustrating, and it's like, so what's his deal? Is he like he wants to keep Ruby around, so he wants to ensure that these scenarios happen, or he wants, I don't know, to get closer to Unit, so he ensures these scenarios happen? But no, he did want to get closer to Unit. He just didn't believe any of it was true in the first place.
I thought he was an anti-vaxxer or something at first.
I mean, he kind of is.
Yeah.
An anti-vaxxer. That's why that'd be the only way they could really like ham-fist it a little more. That's why he didn't take it. If he threw just one line about not believing in the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. This season, it's not enraging. It's not enraging. But it is.
It's also not amazing.
It's not amazing. You know what else is not amazing?
What's not amazing?
Climate change.
No.
Especially since scientists announced on Wednesday that new research shows that 2/3 of global emissions since 1990 has been caused by the wealthiest 10% of the population. The way the rich invest and consume has substantially increased to the risk of deadly heat waves and droughts, according to the first study to quantify the impact of carbon footprints to real-world climate impacts. It's a shift from carbon accounting toward climate accountability. One researcher said. The emissions from the wealthiest 10% in the U.S. and China together account for nearly half of all global carbon pollution and led to a twofold rise in heat extremes. Also emphasized was the role of financial investments in emissions, which gives the wealthy an outsized responsibility in creating these risks to society. The paper ends with suggestions of a carbon tax on the ultra-rich and multinational corporations, but so far, all of the past attempts to do something similar have all failed, so nobody's really expecting it. But it would help to alleviate a lot of the downsides of climate change that are mostly affecting the poor that can't afford to do anything about it. So they're going to keep trying. So, yeah.
They're going to keep trying what? To convince the ultra rich to tax themselves?
Basically, yeah.
That works so well.
Well, I mean, you gotta try though. What else are you gonna do?
Luigi. I was debating how extreme I wanted to go with that reply.
Yeah.
I'm not condoning any Super Mario Brothers activities.
No. Right. But they are super.
And they are brothers.
That's right.
and they are a Mario.
I'm glad. Wait, no, that wasn't about Luigi. That was about the Trump thing. I was gonna say I'm glad I'm not part of Tenacious D. I would have lost my job just now. But that was the Trump thing, not
right.
Luigi.
That was right.
I know it was in bad taste. I know. That's the joke. It's a good joke when you have to justify it after the fact, right?
That's right. That's when you know it's a zinger.
Hey, Jesse, you got anything interesting, exciting you want to mention before we bounce out?
Nothing coming up really. Yeah. No,
right.
Not really.
Same. I'll be doing hey, Helix Rock Radio listeners, I'll be on streaming tomorrow, roughly the same time, 8 p.m. Central. Go for 2 hours. I'll be playing a bunch of extreme metal, maybe some punk. I was listening to some punk today.
Yeah.
But yeah, so check it out, rockradio.live. Melanie, you got anything you want to mention before we bounce out of here?
If you're going to have a Viking funeral for a bird, make sure the little litter you create for it out of twigs and vines is not being made with poison ivy. Say that.
Good call.
Right. Yeah, she's got a bad case of itchies, and that's what happens when you. But also, Viking funeral for a bird, pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right. Oh man, and then also burning poison ivy is bad too. Like
yeah.
Getting poison ivy on you is bad enough, but then burning poison ivy just makes it worse. The acid is just that much stronger, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. On that weird note, yeah, I feel like maybe I cut you off a little bit, Jesse. You good? We're good?
We're good.
Okay. I wanted to make sure you didn't get cut off with the delay.
Right.
It's interesting. I could time it. I could time the delay. It's a few seconds. Anyway.
Yes. I know. I'm like, when do I talk? Because I don't want to talk over you guys, not on purpose.
I think we did pretty good with it.
I want to do it on purpose.
Yeah. Next week I'm doing it on purpose.
All right, everybody. Have a good evening. Grawlixpodcast.com, GRAWLIX podcast.com. It's been a while since I busted it out like that. Bye, YouTube.
Bye.